And call us, and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit.
You know why I hate starting early on YouTube is because sometimes my audio is not working. And then sometimes it is. I mean, the camera looks good. I cleaned the camera the other day. I'm ready to roll. The feeling I'm going to need to hydrate more today. Yes. Did anybody catch the live stream I did with Damon Bruce today? Beat your horn. If you have a Raider fan in your life that you recently just looked at and said, "Will you be quiet and stop complaining?" Like last year sucked. We know. Like, are we all good now? Has everybody kind of got it out of their system? Does everybody have the negativity out of their system so we can have a good time until, I don't know, June or July?
JT The Brick, weekdays from noon to 2 p.m.
Raider Nation has found its new home for daily Raiders content. This is Raider Nation Radio 920 AM, part of the Las Vegas Sports Network, KRLV Las Vegas.
It's the JT The Brick Show.
This is the silver and black. This is the Raiders. This is a historic franchise. This is no ordinary job.
Your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years.
I don't care if I offend somebody. If it isn't right, I'm going to stop practice. We're going to do it the right way.
And now, here's JT The Brick.
Out of the gate, JT with you along with Clay Baker. Sports radio for 2 hours. Fast-paced, aggressive. Might not be your favorite show, but it's mine. I got my name all over it, and I come hard every show. I never take a segment off. Today will be interesting because I just did an hour live stream with Damon Bruce in the Bay Area, an hour. No commercials, no, just we talked for an hour. So that got my voice broken in, and now we're going to do 2 hours. And we're going to hit it hard because the Raiders hired a new offensive line coach in Rick Dennison, who I like a lot. I mean, I don't know him well, but I know his resume. I'm very familiar with him. Been texting back and forth with executives, fans, people in the know that have worked with him in the past. So I feel pretty prepped up to do that as we welcome in the show. It is cold. It is winter. So as I drove in today from the mean streets of Summerlin, very short ride from the 215 Town Center to 215 Flamingo, and then get to here at Lotus Broadcasting. But it was drizzling. Oh my God, it was drizzling. Now, it would have been snow if we were colder. We're not cold enough here in Vegas. So it was a little light drizzle, but man, I looked to the left at the Red Rock Mountains. Clay, those mountains are covered in snow, man. Could you imagine being a pioneer? A pioneer way back then with just a horse and trying to come over Red Rock Pass.
Right.
If you were trying to get to what would be Southern Nevada before you got to California. How did the people do it?
Yeah.
How'd they do it?
I always wondered that. The covered wagons, the trail would come out of Death Valley. So if that wasn't enough, then you come through Pahrump and through Red Rock, and it's snowing and winter winds and hail and no shelter in sight.
No shelter in sight. And I would believe, because I'm a good talker, I think I can talk my way out of a lot. I couldn't talk my way out of Indians wanting to kill me. So whenever I watch those shows about, the 1883, which was really good. Really good. If you didn't see that, go back and watch it. Or Yellowstone, the prequel. When the people moved out west and they came out west here, you had a hope. You had a hope that the Indians would not want to kill you. Because if they did, you had no chance unless you had the cavalry with you. And you probably still had no chance. So I always watch those shows and I say, do you know the balls it took for a dad to fill his wagon with his wife and daughter and son and some food and come out west to where we live now in Las Vegas?
Yeah, and you kind of grew up with that term was like, go west, young man. And there's all sorts of positivity. When you left them and you went west, you were saying goodbye to your family probably forever. Because it was unlikely you're coming back. And it's very unlikely that they're going to come visit you. That's it. That's a new world.
Yeah, I left the East Coast for the weather. I did. That was the only reason. It wasn't for a job. I had a good job before I won the smack off. I was a stockbroker, moved west to Smith Barney. I had a good job waiting for me. I had a job at 21, which I was doing really good at before I decided that I'd climb into the sports talk radio world, which has been a blessing to me. But I moved out west for the weather. For no other reason. I miss my family desperately, but I just can't live in bad weather. Life's too short, man. Out here, the weather's great, but we have, as Cisco jumps in, and everybody who's in our YouTube page to watch, you can just jump in at JT the Brick on YouTube. You got to go where the sun is, the beaches, the weather is, or you just got to go on vacations more, man, and do that. And I'm hoping to go on a couple of vacations coming up here. I'm having a difficult time trying to plan them. I'm at that stage now when my kids are grown. But my wife and I are trying to figure out when we can get out of Dodge. And it's going to be a bunch because last year was long, really long, not a lot of wins, and we haven't stopped. And I thought we'd stop in February, but we're not. For whatever reason, we're still here doing this. But it's not a grind. It's talking sports. And we got Mendoza. The big three things of my offseason are Kubiak, Mendoza, and then the opening of the Raiders season camp, right? And again, the beginning of OTAs and all that. But two of the big things that are two of the biggest things that we've seen in quite some time with this organization is the hiring of a new head coach, check, and the drafting of the number one pick overall, which I believe is a check. That's not written in pencil. It's written in a marker. I think we all know where we're going with that. So two big things are done. Now the third topic is Max Crosby. As I said, I was on with Damon Bruce today. He's really good. First thing he opened up with, what's going on with Max? I'm like, nothing. What? Well, in Chicago? No, there's nothing going on with Max. Max is under contract. Max is a Raider. Max kind of loves it here, doesn't like it here, loves it here. Does Max want to win? Yeah. Is Max a valuable commodity for everybody else in the league? Yeah. Is this a new regime with Max? Yes. But a lot of housewives and people got ahead of this story. And now people really believe, influencers and podcasters and insiders, that everybody believes they have to have an opinion on Max. And that's the focus of the monologue, brought to you by PTs. They fuel the monologue, 5 to 7, midnight to 2, the best happy hour in town. I don't know of another tavern group that gives you 2 happy hours and half-price drinks and wants to cater to you if you want to come in and watch the Olympics, watch the Golden Knights when they come back, and all of that. So what I'm finding for the first time in quite some time, I got to go back to Khalil Mack, and I was on the front lines of Khalil Mack. I was, because I was staying in Napa, and Mr. Davis, Al Davis, was eating breakfast every morning in the restaurant where I would get my coffee, and they were negotiating to get Jamarcus Russell, who they picked but didn't sign. And I was there for that camp, and I did my show there for 2 weeks, and I watched it all until Jamarcus came in late, and the rest is history. So that was a big story because Jamarcus was one thing, but then the Khalil Mack story was big because Khalil Mack was great. He wasn't good. He was great. And for the Raiders, they made a financial decision. It wasn't a culture decision. John Gruden would have loved them. They made a financial decision to not go with Khalil Mack, which I believe at the time was a mistake. But in all financial deals with the Raiders, I stay in my lane. I apologize that I have to. Like, I give a crap if you think I don't stay in my lane or not. I just had to throw that out there. But, I'm not going to get in the way of contracts, player negotiations. So again, I'm not going to get in the way of this Max topic. I have nothing to add, but next Friday night, I'll be the MC for the Commitment to Excellence Award dinner, which will be honoring Max Crosby. And I'll be sitting with Max and I'll be talking to Max. And at no point in front of Rachel or Max Crosby will I ask, what are you doing? What's next for you? It's none of my business. But I do have a sports talk show that's pretty successful in this town. And I think I should have opinions on that. So what's my opinion? My opinion is you're not better if you let go of Max Crosby for anything. You don't know who you're going to get. Now, if you told me Max Crosby straight up for Justin Jefferson, I could do a show on that. I could say Justin Jefferson in his prime and Max in his prime. What's more important, Max or Justin Jefferson? I could do a show on that. I could. I can't do a show on getting rid of Max Crosby and bringing in some college kids who might be a bust or might not play. I can't do that because I think the Max, who's under contract, should be here for a while. Ever since I knew Max, and I know him well, it's never about the money. Max isn't looking to I don't know if they'll redo his deal or not. Again, that's not my business, but it's never been about Max holding out for more money. Max is not that guy. Max is having a cigar at 8 Cigar Lounge. He's playing with his daughter. He's doing his thing. Okay? Max is a lot like Mark Davis. They don't flaunt their money. Max will have a couple of chains and a nice couple of rides, but they're not there shoving their money in your face. It's not about money. The only reason Max would leave is if he had a better chance to win and the Raiders got an offer that they couldn't refuse. That's the topic. So you got a bunch of NFL insiders and Real Housewives and everybody saying, no, he had Caleb Williams on his podcast. He must be wanting to go to the Bears. I heard Q's monologue yesterday when I was driving home as I came out of here. And Q was talking about, he's going on every show. Everybody's asking Q, what do you think of Max Crosby? They're doing the same with me. And the only difference is I'm turning a lot of those down just for my opinion because I have nothing to add. If I have something to add, I'd love to be on a show or your show or another show. I don't have a lot to add. I want him to stay. I think it's really important that he does stay. And you can turn the season around. You can turn this record around. I don't think you have to turn much of the culture around. I mean, there was Christian Wilkins. There's been a couple of knuckleheads who have come through here over the last couple of years. But overall, I think you'd all agree we haven't had a really big culture issue. Pete Carroll didn't have a problem with the culture. Neither did Antonio Pierce, John Gruden. I think Josh McDaniels had a bit of a problem with it because he didn't relate well to his players. He didn't. Rich Bisaccia, looking back, was great for the culture. Man, everyone loved Rich Bisaccia. So we're not looking at a graveyard of culture killers that have been in the brand new facility in Henderson. We're looking at a bunch of coaches and GMs that got fired because the team couldn't win games. And everybody's to blame for that. Who'd we draft? Who'd we sign? Who did we decide to play or not? And that all contributed to a bunch of people losing their jobs, all being paid handsomely as they came in and got paid handsomely to leave. And now we hit the reset button with Clint Kubiak. But notice I said reset and I didn't say rebuild. And why am I very careful with the term rebuild? I often say this for people who get it because I don't think it's smart to tell Brock Bowers' mom, who was a great athlete, superior athlete, and they didn't grow up Raider fans in Napa. They didn't. I don't think you'd want to go up to Brock Bowers' mom and say, we're looking to rebuild. I wouldn't do that because her son plays for the team and he's a superstar. I wouldn't go up to Max Crosby and say, Max, we're looking to rebuild. We'd like you to be here for it. I wouldn't do that. I would not draft Fernando Mendoza and say we're in a complete rebuild. But some want to do that, and I'm okay with that. Some want to do that. I have had enough experience in 30 years, but in the last 2 or 3 years, to bring to you and cover the teams that haven't had to rebuild. They haven't rebuilt. They just had a good draft, a good year of free agency, and they got a quarterback. Remember, I saved the best for last. We didn't have a quarterback. Geno Smith was supposed to be pretty good. He was. Geno Smith's supposed to be good. Do we all understand why Geno was brought in? He was really good. He wasn't bad. I have the numbers. He was good. Now, did he play on a better team? Yeah. He played on the team that won the Super Bowl. Okay, so he played on a pretty good team. And he was able to put up 4,300 yards and 70%. That's how he got the job with the Raiders. You know how Jimmy Garoppolo got the job here? He won 4 playoff games. 4. And played in the Super Bowl. He's pretty good. He wasn't terrible. That's why he got the job. So the reason why the Raiders don't have to rebuild is because we've seen all these young quarterbacks quickly get to the playoffs. And those great young quarterbacks were drafted 1, 2, and 3. Should I go over it? Caleb Williams, Heisman Trophy winner, 1. Drake May, not a Heisman Trophy winner, not a national champion, right? Drake May, drafted high. Jaden Daniels, really good player, drafted number 3. We're getting a guy drafted number 1 with a national championship and a Heisman Trophy. And people want to pick on the wart on Lincoln's nose. You want to find something wrong with Mendoza, really? God, I own that topic better than anybody. I told you a month ago, get ready. That's why I'm looking to go to Maui and get out of here, because I don't want to deal with people every day saying, well, Mendoza, and then we have to, Clay's great at finding sound, and he's got a big show. And then I look at the sound sheet, and there's this NFL podcaster who says Mendoza is not as good. I don't want to do that. Mendoza's fine. I got a guy sitting here in my chat saying Mendoza's a game manager. Cool. He happened to manage winning a Heisman and a national championship for one of the worst programs ever to play football, Indiana. That's Mount Rushmore crap. That's on the tip of Mount Rushmore, what Mendoza did compared to everybody else, including Tim Tebow, who I believe is one of the greatest college players ever. 2-time national champion and a Heisman Trophy winner. Hard to do. Tebow was excellent. Tebow was great. He wasn't good in college. He was elite. Wasn't great in the pros. So that's what you want to do. You want to say that Mendoza was great in college. He might not be great in the pros. You do you. He's coming to the Raiders. We want this guy to be great. So how long of a rebuild do you have to go through? And why do you even have to bring that up? Clint Kubiak's not going to guarantee 10 wins. Pete Carroll didn't guarantee 10 wins. How much crap did we give Pete Carroll for saying, hey, I win a lot. I win 10 games every year. What do you want him to lie? You want Pete Carroll at a press conference in shorts to say, I win 5 games a year? No, coach, you haven't. You win 10. That's what he thought he was going to do. He was wrong. He got fired. We wish him well. So Clint Kubiak, he's just going to come in here and try to win games. He doesn't know how many he's going to win, nor do I. But I think the Raiders can turn this around fairly quickly if they get it right. If they get it right. Last year, a lot went wrong. Even the players that the Raiders drafted last year didn't play. They weren't able to play. Even the really good players the Raiders drafted before this regime and the regime before with Pete Carroll, they couldn't get on the field. They were drafted like Jackson Powers Johnson, and no one believed in him. So he didn't even get a fair chance that he might get now or not. I don't know if he's going to get a fair chance or not. This team is going to evaluate Colt Miller and Jackson Powers Johnson. You think Colt Miller and JPJ have a free pass because you're on a message board saying they're our left tackle and our center? No, don't work that way. This group is going to evaluate them. And then they're going to tell us if they're good enough to play. I'm assuming Colt Miller and Jackson Powers Johnson are going to start, but I don't know for sure. So we find out the deal is done with Rick Dennison. He'll be the offensive line coach for the Raiders. Interesting, we did the whole show yesterday on the Raiders, on the offensive line. Remember? We did that all day yesterday, offensive line. He's a former linebacker out of Colorado State. He's 67 years old. Don't shame him for his age, please. You did that to Pete Carroll. Please don't tell me he's 67 and the coach is 38. Who cares? The guy's great. So he coached with Denver. He's been with Denver a lot. So he's with Denver from 95 through 2008. Offensive line coach, offensive coordinator, special teams coordinator. Then he went to the Houston Texans, where he was the offensive coordinator. Then he went to the Ravens, where he was the quarterback coach. Then back to Denver for the offensive coordinator position. I remember when he went to the Buffalo Bills closely because the Bills were kind of wallowing. And I remember when he came in, because I got some Bills fans, he was the offensive coordinator. He went to the Jets, not a great move, but he was the offensive line coach there. Went to the Vikings, offensive line coach. He was there. Then he went to the Saints, senior offensive assistant, connection to Kubiak. Then the run game coordinator for the Seahawks as a Super Bowl champ, and now with the Raiders. So we welcome today officially Rick Dennison, who's really good. And he's going to be a guy that's going to quickly evaluate this offensive line. A lot of his resume, because he is a 4-time Super Bowl champ, not one, 4-time Super Bowl champ as a coach, most recently Super Bowl 50 with Gary Kubiak and Super Bowl 60 with Clint Kubiak. And he knows who can play or not. So we got a guy that is really sharp. He's going to be in the offensive line room. He's going to be in the meetings with Mendoza. He's going to be staying up late with Clint Kubiak and Mike McCoy. Remember, you got Mike McCoy and Rick Dennison on a staff led by a first-time coach who's a young play caller. That's good. You can have a bunch of 37 and 38-year-old guys. I'm good with that. But you're going to need a guy in his 50s and 60s in the room who understand everything that's going on emotionally with the football team. And when a coach is not having a great day, sometimes coaches don't have great days. They hit the wall physically and emotionally. You got guys who have been down that road before that could really help. So I like this topic today that we finally have an offensive line coach who's got pelts on the wall, and he's pretty good. I mean, he's pretty good. Of course, he's light years ahead of Brennan Carroll, who got fired. Light years ahead. But Brennan Carroll got hired because his dad hired him, and his dad was the head coach. It didn't work out. You didn't hear me do a lot of Brennan Carroll shows. We all knew he wasn't a good coach on the offensive line. He was in over his head. And that chapter ended. So how much do I got to talk about it? I'd rather talk about Rick Dennison. So as I like to build topics, that's what I think we do pretty good here. What's the topic on this today? What would you like to talk about? I got a good one. I got a really good topic that I need your help with. What type of offense do you want to be now that we have the coaches? Very simple. The only rule is I don't want to hear balanced. That's gutless. I don't want to hear balanced. You can't use that. I'm going to give you a two-choice question. Do you want a passing offense or a running offense? Ooh, JT, I haven't heard that. Let me repeat it. You have one choice. Do you want a passing offense or do you want a running offense? Okay, let's start first with the running offense. We have Ashton Jeanty, who I believe who could be just a superstar, unbelievable superstar. And we got a head coach in Clint Kubiak who has very strong run game principles, run to set up the pass. So it would be easy for me to say run, but I have to choose between one or two, run or pass. I'm going to choose pass. I'm going to choose pass because that's the modern game of football we're playing. Okay, balance isn't a choice because it's too easy. I can't do a show with easy stuff. I can't do it. So don't tell me balance. I won't take your call. It's either run or throw. I'm going to go throwing because of Bowers and Mendoza. Clay, I want to see the spirit of Al Davis. We take what we want. We are going to attack because we forgot how to attack in Vegas. We do not know how to attack in Vegas. We forgot how to attack. We didn't throw the ball last year 30 yards out of bounds. We didn't take a shot in the first quarter and say, Gino, hear me out. First play of the game, throw it as far as you can. We just want to set up we didn't do any of it. So I want to be a pass guy, Clay. What do you want?
Passing has got to be the way. You want to score points, and you want to dictate through the air because you look at the teams that have been the top 10 scoring offenses in the league. 7 of them went to the playoffs. It same follows with those who are great in the passing game. And the 3 teams that didn't make it in the top 10, Detroit, the Cowboys, Cincinnati, they just got to work on their defense. But they are positioned well to go even further. So if you want to be a part of the modern NFL, your quarterback's got to be able to stay on the field and attack through the air.
Clay Baker, you better believe it, because we have a show today with thought, right? We want to think, and we'd like to hear from you at 702-365-9200. I have the head coach, the offensive coordinator, the offensive line coach set. We're done. I'm not talking about the assistant linebacking coach. I'm sure he's a great guy. I don't know him. I'm not doing that. I don't do those shows. I don't talk about the practice squad, and I don't take phone calls on the assistant linebacker coach. I talk about the hits on this show. So do you want to throw it or run it? We know what we have now. We're assuming we have Mendoza. It's pretty much a lock. We know we have Bowers and Jeanty. I'm not mentioning the defense today. Not mentioning today's offense. As Cisco said, the deep ball. Mendoza, Mad Bomber 2.0. That's kind of where I'm going. Now, we have to assume that we're going to get new, fresh offensive linemen, which I spent 2 hours yesterday talking about. And we're going to get them via free agency. The entire Cleveland Browns offensive line, all 5 of their starters are available. Did you see that? That was pretty interesting. So I'm assuming, I don't know if I'm right. I'm assuming that 2 of the Cleveland's offensive linemen that are available are better than all of our offensive linemen. How about that for a reach? So for the offensive linemen that are available who are going to be free from Cleveland, I would assume that one of them is a lock. Two of them are better than what we have in the building. There's one. And then the only other one you want to get, you might want to go get the most expensive guy or not. But I got you guys, man. I got you. Okay, you're going to get 2 new offensive linemen. It's a lock. It's coming. That's Captain Obvious stuff. You're going to get 2 new offensive linemen, hopefully to add to Colt Miller and Jackson Powers Johnson. So if you want to play Caleb Rogers or DJ Glaze or all that, I'm good with that because you got 2 new offensive linemen who are better than DJ Glaze, Caleb Rogers, Alex Kappa, Forsythe, whoever you have. We're going to get 2 new guys. I'm assuming the sale, as we used to do as a stockbroker. I'm assuming you're going to open up an account with me. I don't know how much you're going to give me, but I'm assuming the sale. I'm assuming we're going to get 2 offensive linemen. So that's the show. Now that you got the pieces, I'm giving you the running back, the tight end, the quarterback, the head coach, offensive play caller, the assistant head coach, former offensive head coach, and Rick Dennison, the offensive line coach. Some of them are listening. I know for a fact some of them are listening. Do you want a throwing team or a running team? I don't want to hear balance. My show's not about balance. That's too easy. Both Clay and I said we want to attack. We want to throw the ball. That means I don't want to check down. On 3rd and 9, I don't want to throw it 4 yards. That's all we did around here for years. We did that with Chip Kelly and Josh McDaniels. Can you believe what I just said? We had Josh McDaniels, the best modern-day successful play caller in the modern history of the NFL, and Chip Kelly on most people's list of one of the most unique offensive play callers in college NFL recent history. And we check down on every 3rd down. We don't throw it to the chains. We got 3rd and 9, not 3rd and 19. We don't have 3rd and 30. We do have it a few times. On 3rd and 9, we were checking down. That meant guys were running routes 4 yards. We were throwing it to them. Could you believe that? I'm sitting in 132 going 3rd and 9. We're going to check down. Yep, we check down. That's not going to happen anymore. There's no possible way that anyone from Tom Brady to Rick Dennison and Clint Kubiak is going to take over their responsibilities here and have us check down as much as we've checked down since we've moved to Vegas. No more check downs. We're attacking. Kubiak's got the plays. He just ran them at the Super Bowl. They worked. We got the plays. We got the quarterback. We're going to get the offensive line. Okay, you're not hearing me talk about Max or we need some linebackers. We ain't going to start Darian Porter and Caillou again. Are you nuts? Those are good players. They might make the team. They ain't going to start. We need some corners. We need some things around here. But today I'm talking about welcoming Rick Dennison to the team. And what do we do to attack? Or do you want to run the ball? And I have a lot of respect for you. If you say, no, JT, I love the fact that we're going to run it down their throat. I'm good with that, too. Here's Joe in Brooklyn, New York on the mobile app. How are you, Joe?
JT, what's up, my man?
What do you say?
Listen, we got the offensive line coach. If you tell me we get 2 or 3 new offensive linemen with a second-year running back, Genty, let's just grind out that run zone blocking scheme or whatever scheme Dennison thinks, he wants to run. Let's run with Genty. Keep Mendoza, while he's learning out of some bad situations, while he's getting his feet wet. But I'd rather run the ball first, set up the pass. Just like I said, while Mendoza is learning, especially the first year, maybe second year, open it up. But this first year, I want to run the ball, run Genty, let Genty just, do his thing, keep Mendoza in third and manageable. If he can, take a shot here and there, but let's get those 5-6 yard runs. Running at it. Adam, they can't stop us. Let's do it again. Another 5-6 yards. See how it is from there. Like I said, year one, while Mendoza's learning, he's young. He's going to go through some struggles. But, to help him out a little bit, let's run the ball.
Thank you. Thank you. So that's Clay. Can we please keep track of this, please? I'm not good. We have one run. Clay Baker and JT the Brick said pass. Our first caller said run. Have I told you about Finley Volvo Cars Las Vegas right off the 215 at Rainbow? Unbelievable. Today's a perfect day to go see Mike on the showroom floor. It's kind of cold. It's raining. You want a safe vehicle. You want one of these EV hybrids. He's got such a selection of cars there. It'll blow you away, but you got to go see it. So go to Finley Volvo Las Vegas right off the 215, opposite side of the freeway at UFC. You cannot miss it. One of the most gorgeous showrooms you've ever been in your life. They'll get you coffee, sit you down, you watch some videos, you take a look at these cars. And here's the key. You'll be safe. Hey, man, you're driving around today in Vegas. You upgrade your vehicle to a Volvo, you're going to be safer. And you know that because that's what they do. They give you a luxury ride, but now they have tremendous hybrids, which I like. And you have a lot of opportunities. Finley Volvo Las Vegas, proud partner of the show. Levi Edwards joins us in about 5 minutes. I think Levi was just in Miami. He might still be in Miami. I don't know. I got to ask him. Do you want to run it or throw it now? It's your only two choices today. School's in session. I want to attack. I want the ball to go in the air. So when I'm sitting in my seat at Allegiant with my Modelo, I want to look up and see the ball in the air. Let's throw the football. Woo! 12:30. That's a 30-minute monologue. That's a 30-minute monologue. I got both my sons, I think, here. Both my sons behind the scenes. What did we say about Mayer? JT said it best. Mayer is not a special teams player. I love that line.
The Point Tailgate, weekdays at 7 a.m. on Raider Nation Radio 920.
Quickly, yes. Clay and I came up with the monologue. I said hello to Clay. He said hello back. We're friends. I said, what about this? He said, that's good. And we did 30 minutes. It is not hard, Clay. You do not need a 40-minute pre-show meeting. You know? I know people that have to get in for a 9 o'clock show at 6 a.m. for bagels, coffee, to pitch topics to hosts who don't watch sports. So the dirty secret is the host at 9 a.m. nationally didn't watch anything. So the producers, as they're smearing their bagels and having their coffee, they got to pitch topics to the host who didn't watch sports. Dirty secret in sports radio. If you watch sports, pardon the interruption, I read 10 newspapers a day, PTI, then you're good. You do a show. It's not hard. That was a good, yes, Finley Volvo. Thank you, Clay.
Your paycheck, your vacation plans, your job security, your time. Protect yourself so you can do all the things you want to do with all the people you want to do it with. Instead of lying in bed sick with the flu, talk to your doctor about getting a flu shot so you can get on with life. This message funded by a grant from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Immunization, and Vaccines for Children program. Here in cooperation with the Broadcasters Association and the station. Australia's biggest
monologue is fire, yes.
328 at Allegiant Stadium.
Oh, ladies hockey, Clay. We have 1-1 gold medal. Is that overtime or overtime?
Canada led 1-0, and then
boy, keep us posted. I'm watching figure skating. Where is that? Clay and I are looking at live figure skating.
That's right. No carbonation.
Oh, there it is. U.S. Canada overtime. Yeah, Pete Franklin. So I did a really good hour with Damon Bruce today. It was my idea to podcast with him, and Damon and I did about an hour, maybe even longer, recapping the Super Bowl, Radio Row. He asked a lot about Max Crosby to the Niners, a couple other topics.
Galen, we'll do everything we can to support you. Visit galencollege.edu to learn more. Galen is provisionally licensed to operate by the CPE. From birthdays to business meetings, or just because, Craze makes every moment delicious. Artful charcuterie boards, made fresh. Visit GrazeCraze.com. Celebrate everything. Call 702-605-6333.
JT, just trying to get in touch with you. I'll give you a text invite.
One Nevada credit union believes your life should be rewarded. With a new or refinanced auto loan, One Nevada will let you skip payments for 90 days. You really can drive now and pay later. At One Nevada, we offer freedom from payment stress.
Tell them to call us.
Okay.
If he, give him a minute.
Want to take this call?
Yeah. Pete Franklin was Dave Chappelle before Dave Chappelle. I would not go that far. I knew Pete Franklin. I wouldn't make I don't know how you're making the Dave Chappelle comparison.
Stars of tomorrow, and any rumors and reports that come out about veterans that could be on the move. The Raiders 2026 roster construction starts in Indy and will be there. Starting with Vinny Bonsignore as part of the morning tailgate and wrapping up every afternoon with me and unnecessary roughness from 2 to 5 p.m. Our coverage of the 2026 Scouting Combine here
So Q's going.
is brought to you by
Q's going? Good combine. Good. Good for him.
Commerce down there, so
Good.
Show. To you by the DeCasta Verde Law Group. If you get injured in an accident, call 702-222-9999.
Raiders going, hurry up. They're not calling a huddle, and Gino's in an empty set. They need to get inside the 35. Giants come with a blitz. Smith over the middle. He's got Merritt stride at the 30. Cuts upfield 20, and he's down right there. Michael Mayer having one of the best games of his young career in his third season with the Raiders. Bill Brock Bowers picks up 19. They convert on fourth down.
Jason Horowitz on a really good Michael Mayer soundbite. Someone put in the chat on our YouTube channel. What are we doing with Michael Mayer? I never know. I don't think we treat Michael Mayer the way he should. Michael Mayer has been treated like a special teams blocker instead of an elite tight end. I would hope that Clint Kubiak, whatever they decide to do, I hope that there is a better vision than the former regimes with Michael Mayer. And if they think letting Mike go to the Dolphins or the Lions or somewhere else, and they get something they like, I understand. Because we do not use Michael Mayer on this team. We don't. He's a great player. And we put him on special teams to block someone off the edge. It drives me bonkers. I hope someone tells Michael Mayer this, because I like Mike. I've interviewed him a lot and supported him through his personal issues. I just think he's too good. I think we need to use him more. Levi Edwards joins us. Did I just see you were in Miami? Are you still? I saw a wave runner in the city behind you from the water. Is that accurate?
Yes, that was accurate. I'm now back in Las Vegas. I'm back in the desert soil, but I took a few days to do some jet skiing in Miami, see some water. It was a good time.
Well, being out on the water in Miami, which I have been lucky enough to do, is interesting because you can go through causeways, Star Island, the beach, the bay. There's a lot to do out there, but you got to be careful on those wave runners there, man, because there's a lot of bigger boats than those wave runners there.
So that was my first time ever going jet skiing and doing some wave running, and I was petrified. So the first 20 minutes, it's just kind of like they tell you, okay, so don't go past that big white boat over there. So you're basically just doing circles, and then I'm trying to catch my balance. So for the first 20 minutes I'm out there, I'm going about 10 miles an hour, just trying not to die. But then once you get comfortable and then you start to speed it up to about, 50, 60 miles an hour, then, you start to, feel like you're coming alive. But my big thing is I just didn't want to flip the boat, because if I would have flipped the boat, it would have been an astronomical price to pay, not only for my health, my safety and my health, but also, to the company. So I didn't flip the boat. I got off safe and sound. We're still good and healthy, and to see some water, got a nice skyline. It was a good time.
Were you there also? I think you were, the overlap of the Miami purge of Tyreek Hill and Chubb and everybody. Were you down there when they were, all of a sudden it was like the internet broke, the Dolphins are like, we're out, we're done, we're not bringing back all these players? What's the vibe like down there with the Dolphins?
Yeah, so it was really interesting just because I was there during Super Bowl weekend. So I saw a lot of Patriots fans, a lot of Seahawks fans. The Tyreek Hill stuff didn't happen until a little after I left, but just kind of talking to a couple of Dolphins fans that were down there, it's a very odd place because you have a lot of people who are Dolphins fans that live in Miami, but they're not very knowledgeable of the team. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, it's our team, geographically speaking, and then they have all their other interests that they have, but they were kind of expecting that was going to happen for a while, and they're also kind of expecting for the Tua thing to happen for a while. So they weren't really shocked or really surprised by any of it. It's just kind of like another day in the life of someone who lives in South Florida. So, I don't really necessarily see a lot of issues, that are too pressing living in South Florida.
Levi Edwards is our guest. So tell me about Rick Dennison. We'll learn more about him here, but a former player who's won 4 Super Bowls as a part of 4 Super Bowl winning staffs, and no doubt about it, has a resume of being an offensive line coach, but also a deep resume of being an offensive coordinator. Very much like Mike McCoy, someone coming in now who's been a former high-end coach. He's not a head coach, but high-end coordinator. McCoy coordinator, head coach. Another smart mind who's been through the trenches to help out Clint Kubiak. How do you see it?
That's exactly what it is. And more than just the experience, it's the trust. He's a guy that's been with Gary for a long time, won Super Bowls with him, propelled a lot of really good offenses with Gary, not only just in Denver, but in Houston. And then also you have the trust with Clint, who's the son, who obviously they come from the same pipeline, and they have experience together in Minnesota, and they have experience together in New Orleans. So more than just the experience that he brings of just being in the NFL, he has a trust factor of just having that relationship with those guys, of being like, I got your back. We're boys. Everything is, we've practiced this before, and we know what it takes to continue to have that we've already maintained. So a good track record is great. Just with somebody that you know is going to have your back, that you can trust, is more vital. It's for a first-time head coach.
Levi Edwards joins us. So check this out. I was just reading this. So if we go to Dennison's time with the Texans, in 2010, Dennison was hired by the Texans as their offensive coordinator. He moved to Houston and reunited with head coach Gary Kubiak, who he was a teammate of in Denver between 83 and 90, and a fellow Broncos assistant coach between 95 and 2005. Then, listen to this, both Dennison and Kubiak were appointed quarterbacks coach and offensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens in 2014. So we're seeing a coach come to the Raiders who's so tight with our new coach's dad. I mean, this feels like a really good fit.
Yeah, no, it's a great fit, just not only from, like what I was saying, from what he provides from the experience, just the fact that it is a good fit. You want people that you can be not relatable with, but just you want to bring in people that you have a good relationship with, because obviously you hire people and it's like, okay, well, I know so-and-so because he coached with my friend over here, or bring someone in, it's like, oh, they did this over here and this player is really well. This isn't one of those situations. This is a personal track record of someone that you've talked to consistently, someone that you've probably had family dinners with consistently. Like, it's a real relationship. And so you need to have somebody in your corner like that, especially as a first-time head coach. And it really can't even be a better situation, especially considering the success that they've had in other places. When I look at some of these offenses that Dennison's been part of with Andre Johnson and Arian Foster and LaShawn McCoy, and even last year with Kenneth Walker, like, these are some big-time guys that he's propelling to the next level. So why wouldn't you want to bring that into your building?
Levi Edwards, as we wrap it up. So let's put a bow on this. Our topic for today is you can't say balanced. Would you rather have a passing offense or a running offense? Levi Edwards, you cannot say balanced just for fun. What would you rather have, the aerial attack passing game or the running game?
I think just from the sake of just being a savvy football mind, you need to have the running attack. The running needs to come first because it opens up everything else. So obviously, everybody knows the history of the Raiders. Everybody knows you did the explosiveness, the vertical game, going deep on people, the speed. Everybody knows that to be a part of the Raiders. But you don't get that if you cannot establish the run. That's just plain and simple. That, anybody that knows anything about football will tell you that. You need to establish the run game so you can get the defense off balance and then take those shots and go deep and establish a really good passing game. So not necessarily saying that I want it to be a very run heavy team, but what I'm saying is that it needs to be the priority, especially when you took your number 6 overall pick at running back Ascendancy last year to be one of the cornerstone pieces of your team. You need to use them. You need to maximize them. So it makes sense for you to, continue to build in the trenches, build around him. And then whoever the quarterback is, whoever your receivers are, they'll have more than enough to be able to get the job done to really take the top off of defenses once you get the run game going, once you get the ground game established.
So I'm assuming now, and you're going to be doing some work with this too, and our teammates who are going to be at the combine. This is, are you diving mostly into combine performances or combine matches where the Raiders, we know, have a massive need at offensive line, massive need, I think, with another edge rusher, need linebackers, definitely need a corner. I don't like corners out of college because most of them don't amount to much. If they're a high pick, they got to be like Christian Gonzalez. Good luck doing that. So what are you going to be focusing on in regards to studying up for the combine on the type of fit and need the Raiders should be looking at?
Really all of the above. Everything you just said, JT, you basically mapped out my entire list. It feels like you were looking at my notes. It feels like you went to my computer and you were looking at everything that I was planning on doing even before you asked that question, because that's exactly what it's going to be. We're going to do combine, recap of kind of like the top performers of metrics and things of that nature who are doing well. But more importantly, this is a good time to really dig into these prospects because the fact of the matter is the Raiders do have a lot of needs. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to look at that number 1 pick and assume, okay, well, everybody wants to know as much as they can about Mendoza, and they want to be all sold in on that number 1 pick and who it could potentially be. But there's another 6 rounds after the first, and there's a lot of needs that are still, having to take place. And so I'm going to be looking a lot at the offensive linemen, a lot at the receivers, a lot at the corners, a lot of the linebackers, a lot of these other positions that are definitely going to have to take shape on the team. And the Raiders have a good amount of draft capital going into this draft to be able to maneuver, some picks around. Also, maybe even, trade up again in the first or in a couple of rounds to get some more premium players. So I'm really going to be taking a look at everyone available there and doing some recaps on that. So it's going to be a very, very busy week on Raiders.com, live from the combine. So I think a lot of people should tune in for sure.
Yeah, I want to follow up with one thing you just said, the potential to trade up. We don't know what's going to happen. Zero idea what John Spytek's going to do because some people are saying it's a weak draft, others it's a specialty draft at a couple of positions. But, man, I like trading up for that second pick, man. I really – because they're going to get the first pick of the second round. So whoever goes to bed that night, which is a really cool topic, you go to bed and there's like 4 to 5 guys who were not drafted in the first round who should have been. Been doing this a long time to know that's true. Guys have first round grades, they don't get picked. And the Raiders can go get that first pick in the second round. Love that topic. But what about going up and getting the guy that you want that's all of a sudden dropped to number 19? And you're like, oh man, that's our best player. Other than Mendoza, we can go up and get him. And let's give up the second and another second or second and 2/3. Do you think that could be the type of draft where possibly that's a discussion point?
For certain, especially with the compensatory pick that the Raiders will be soon getting, on top of the fact that they got a little bit in return for Jacoby Myers when that trade was made a couple of months ago. Mm-hmm. So they have a lot of capital, and also trades were made last year in the draft to also give the Raiders a little bit more capital. So I feel like if there is a guy in the late first round that they're like, okay, well, he's high on our board and he making immediate impact in one of these positions, like I totally could see that being something that could happen, especially with the fact that John Smatek, even in his first season as the GM, he made it very clear that he's willing to kind of trade up and trade back to get more assets. That's something that he's willing to do in order to maximize on the roster. So I think that is definitely a possibility for sure, especially with the thing that I don't necessarily think it's a weak draft. I'm not going to say that because everybody wants to say it's a weak draft or there's not a whole lot of talent in it or 2027 is going to be much better. We don't know that for sure. What I will say is I do think it is a very top-heavy draft in those first 2-3 rounds for sure. I will say that, and I won't deny that. If you find somebody that you like still there floating in the back of the first, then if you want to make the move, then by all means make that move.
Yep, I agree with you on that. So we'll talk to you next week or the next couple of weeks. And as you put out more and more of your content around the combine and the draft, and happy to see you're dry and safe from your jet ski adventure in Miami.
Yes, no accidents, no broken bones, no smashed faces. Everybody's doing good. I'm still looking pretty. Everything's fine. Got some water, got a couple of nice grease here and there, and
Sure.
I'm ready to get to work next week.
See you, Levi. Thank you, Levi.
Thank you so much.
All right, Levi Edwards. How about that? Dropping him in there. Good guy. Yes, I'm working with Eli to get him radio tested. I want Levi to help me out from time to time. Sit in with Clay, excuse me, do some stuff here because he's good. Levi's got a lot of strong opinions. And it used to be you had to get it out of Levi. Now you don't. Levi knows to just come on in and give opinions. When we come back, we'll wrap up this hour. We'll tell you what we got going. The topic is really big. Dial now and I'll get you up in the next 10 minutes. Do you want to be a passing offense now that we have our coaches set on offense? Or do you want to be a running offense? One or the other. No balance stuff. One or the other today because we want to see what Raider fans are thinking as we do every day on the flagship at Lotus Broadcasting. I'm going to hydrate, JT, hydrate.
Have some fun and on black. There are 10 casinos across the country.
Come back in 4 minutes. Go right to your phone.
Responsibly.
And that on every chicken wing. Big Simba cane sauce. Butter every Texas toast. Stir every slaw and salt every fry. Because when you do it right, you can taste it every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
Raider Nation, it's JT. I partnered with Charles Woodson and his Woodson Whiskey. It's the official bourbon whiskey of the Black Hole and the Las Vegas Raiders. If it wasn't your game day whiskey, it is now. Raise a bottle at your next tailgate and toast to the silver and black. The limited edition Black Hole bottles now available at WoodsonWhiskey.com. Use the promo code JTTheBrick at checkout for 15% off. That's WoodsonWhiskey.com, the official whiskey of Raider Nation. Please celebrate responsibly.
The key to everything starts with a home.
It's where families grow, where kids thrive, and where communities are built.
Everyone deserves a safe, affordable place to call home.
At Nevada Hand, we're building more than a home. We're building hope, stability, and stronger communities.
Every day, families face impossible choices between rent, groceries, and healthcare.
Fortunately, with your help, we're changing that.
Partner with us, volunteer, donate, or spread the word.
Visit NevadaHand.org today.
We're hiring at A1 Garage Doors. No experience? No problem. We provide full training, a brand new van, top-of-the-line tools, a gas card, and steady jobs with weekly pay. This isn't just a job.
Short segment. Next hour is pretty wide open.
Our team members come with training to 6 figures, and we're ready to help you do the same. Great way. Apply now at A1.
All right. For those who know me well, what do you think I'm hydrating with? Remember, we're in the building, so it's no cerveza. What do you think I'm hydrating with? I'm going to pop it open and see if you can guess. Ooh.
Ours for kids.
What do you think I'm hydrating with? Anybody want to guess? Take a guess on what I'm about to drink. It's not a Tito's. It's not a Modelo. No, we're at work. We don't drink. We drink at home. We don't drink at work.
Stay tuned.
I frequently hydrate with this on the with the bricklayers.
It's the next level.
No, not that. Let's try another one. Milk. No, I've been known to have one of those club soda. No club soda. I like my vodka with club soda. Diet Dr. Pepper is a great choice. It's a great choice because that's the best soda I've ever had is Diet Dr. Pepper. Nope. Ah, look at that. The Arnold Palmer. The Arnold Palmer Light, baby. Arnold Palmer Light. Mustaine. Clay, what did we like for sound for the? We'll talk about that at the top of the hour.
Okay. We got one call.
Yep.
Eric, New Mexico.
Brought to you by M Resort Spa and Casino, the official hotel of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Gino to throw. He's looking down the middle to the end zone. Clark Powers back in the end zone in tight coverage. Touchdown Raiders. Brock Powers was sandwiched between a defender and the end line and hauled it in for a 7-yard touchdown grab. His 7th of the season. And the Raiders are an extra point away from tying it up early in the second quarter.
What is your preference today, running or throwing? We know we have an offensive play caller as the head coach, and we have a lot of offensive gurus now in the room. As I've been telling you for a week or two, you're going to have like 10 guys in that quarterback room, like 8 or 10 guys just sitting in there with Fernando and Clint Kubiak. I love it. I think that makes a lot of sense. Bear in New Mexico. Hello, Bear. Thanks for waiting.
How you doing, JT?
Good.
Nice to hear you.
Thank you.
First, I just really like the Rick Dennison hire as offensive line coach. I think any offense starts with the offensive line, and I think it's going to be night and day compared to last year. So really excited about that hire. Second, regarding our offense, I disagree with Levi Edwards. I think passing is the way to go. The 49ers and Bill Walsh proved it by getting multiple Super Bowls based on a pass game first offense. You know, using Dwight Clark, Jerry Rice to open it up for Roger Craig in the run game. So I disagree with him in that way. I agree with you. Offenses, we got to attack. We got to open it up, attack. I want to see a lot of motion, misdirection. I want to confuse the defense. You know, get them on their heel and open it up and go at them. I think it would. Mendoza has a great arm, has great accuracy, and I think it would be an injustice to not use that arm and throw it around a little bit, you know, and it'll open the run game. Yeah. So that's the way I feel.
Thank you. We're about even. Clay and I said pass. We've had a couple of run. Levi said run. Good topic for a show in February. I got 50 topics to talk about, but Raider fans only seem to be interested in a few. This is one. We now have our coaches set. I'm sure there's a coach or two that's still going to get hired, but we have our main coaches set. Robbie Leonard, defensive line. Rick Dennison, offensive line. Mike McCoy, assistant head coach. So I'm good with the coaches. Kubiak was the big one. Now, if we didn't get Kubiak and Mike McCoy was the head coach, that'd be an interesting show. But that didn't happen. We got the guy we wanted. The number one choice the Raiders got, Clint Kubiak, and we're here to support him. JT, let's jump in here on a cold winter day in Vegas. Oh, America wins! Oh, America wins! America wins! America wins! We just won women's hockey.
Brought to you by Finley Toyota. We're here for you.
Gambler's bonus hits again. On January 23rd, Kathy hit 4 kings, clearing her Gambler's bonus 4-of-a-kind bingo card for over $7,000. Kathy hit big and so can you with Gambler's bonus. It's why you play the game. Big news, Las Vegas. PT's Taverns just changed the game. Introducing all new progressive jackpots linked across 65 PT's Taverns locations. We're talking both dollar and quarter progressives that hit on Royal Falls and 4 aces with a kicker. Plus Keno progressives that hit on 7 and 9 spots. And here's the best part. Our 10-spot Keno progressive pays up to
Glad we just scored. How about that? Yeah.
all progressives exclusively available at PT's Taverns.
It's hard to beat Canadian women. This is their thing. And that was a huge battle.
Wow. Show the goal again. I didn't see the goal. Let's go.
Give me the pin. Good cars are worth more, and so are you.
Well, I try to turn that around at some point. It should be up there quick, I would think. That's if the goal comes up. Okay. Canada hates losing to America in hockey. They'll lose in track and field. They'll lose in curling. Hockey,
Now you get a taste of aloha without traveling 2,600 miles across the Pacific Ocean. One of Zippy's favorites is the spaghetti meat sauce and garlic bread, now only $10.99 at the takeout counter. Zippy's meat sauce is thick and hearty, with its signature slightly sweet, savory flavor loved across Hawaii, and the garlic bread is grilled to perfection. Zippy's, home of Hawaii comfort food, now with 3 locations: Royal Crossing, Wallaby Way, and Southeastern in Henderson.
That's JT for the local
Wow, what a nice goal.
radio, led by Tommy White, building the city on time and on budget. Go to local872.com to find out about apprenticeships, the schedules that are happening here in our valley. I'm proud to be associated with the 872, proud partners of my show and Raider Nation Radio.
We want you and your family, 2-legged and 4, to join us on Saturday, February 28th from 10 to 2.
Wow, the Canada coach. Wow, the American coach is crying.
Even their twins. It is free.
Imagine winning a gold medal in Milan and hanging out at the victory party tonight in Milan. How much fun that would be.
Casting, Box 5. See you there.
Unsafe sleep conditions cause serious injury and even death to infants. Never sleep with your baby on a sofa, in a chair, or in an adult bed. Protect the baby you love from becoming a tragic statistic. The only safe place for babies is on its back, in a crib, and in your room. For more information, visit
What are we doing in the chat?
Kids.org. This message is sponsored by the Division of Public and Behavioral Health in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and the station.
Oh, they're going to try to get a blue chip wide receiver. I don't know if we're going to get one here.
Yes. Sports. Sort box office. On 21st, where's words? NCAA men's basketball takes.
I think I got the goals.
Good.
It's good. And we got Mike in Hawaii.
Infomercial saying, here's. As then on Monday, it's continues back on our airwaves, but this time, 3 chances to play the Jayhawks. Marquee men's college matchups on Saturday afternoon and Monday evening for your sports listening enjoyment on Raider Nation Radio 920.
Wake up with the morning tailgate with Clay Baker. Day mornings from 7 to 10 on Raider Nation. Yes. It's the JT the Brick Show.
You just get up every day, you take one step at a time and you keep going and you show up. We have a big mountain to climb, but we're not trying to do it all in one day.
Your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years.
It's really important to me that we're a gritty team, that the way that they were back in the old days. It's nothing that we say, it's what we do on the field. All the little things that win that have nothing to do with ski.
And now, here's JT the Brick.
Wow, we got breaking news. The U.S. women's hockey team just won the gold medal over Canada's women in overtime. Wow, this is incredible. Canadians hate losing in hockey. They despise losing to us here in America. The Canadian fans in Milan are in shock. Clay's got the goal for us. Here's how it sounded.
That's fantastic. That's for the.
That's so cool. Great job by Clay Baker turning that sound around in real time. And Clay, from your years in Michigan, overlooking outside the back window to Canada, you know that Canadians despise losing hockey. to Americans, and a lot of the Canadians, it's all Canada playing in the NHL. Everyone's Canadian.
Right.
But you know what I'm getting to. How bad does this hurt Canada to lose to our ladies there in the line?
It's their identity. It hurts a little bit.
Yeah.
For the United States going undefeated and now golden, it kind of shows them up a little bit. And it's a way that continues this great rivalry between U.S. women's and Canadian women's hockey. I love it.
If our men beat the men in the gold medal game, which I'm assuming is going to happen, I don't think Canada can handle that. No, that would be brutal. Yes or no? Brutal.
Internationally, the pride would take a hit. It would be, even though we're friendly as we can as far as neighbors. But this is the one that Canada wants the most.
Canada just lost in overtime on a breakaway move by a defenseman. This is great. I'm watching these ladies are so happy, and they're all draped in the flag. They're all wearing the flag, and the Canadians have to wait for the handshake line as they're celebrating. I don't know. I don't love that. I think that you should stop your celebration, do the handshake, get it over with, let the Canadians leave, because they are celebrating, Clay Baker. They're having the time of their life.
Yeah, you can't put all that back in the bottle. You have to do the handshake first, and then you can go and have the ice to yourself.
Yeah.
You can't just wait because you're just sitting there brooding, and your insides are hurting and rattling around if you lost, and Canada just sitting there watching and seething under the ice.
Yes, they are not happy. They're not happy at all. All right, lot to get to here. So I left this hour open. We just booked one guest today, Levi Edwards. Q's coming up at the top of the hour. I did an hour podcast live stream today with Damon Bruce on a lot of topics. You can find that on my YouTube. I thought it was really good. Today's topic is pretty important. Do you want to be a passing team now, or do you want to be a running team? We're not saying balance because that's too easy. One or the other. And we're split right down the middle. The callers have been split. Want to hear this hour from you if you're getting off of lunch or you're getting on lunch or you're listening on the replay. You want to hit me on X at JT the Brick. Clay and I both said we think this team needs to become a passing team, which means that's where they have to make their bones. They got to throw the ball because we haven't thrown the ball in years. Our customers are, more importantly, fans of the team. The Raider Nation has not seen entertaining passing football in how long? Anybody? When was the last time we threw the ball? Carr to Crabtree? You know how many playoff games we won with that group? 0. And they're good players. Really good. Carr and Darren Waller got to the playoffs, didn't win. Carr and Renfro? When was the last time that we passed the ball and said we're going to do it? That's why I was such a big fan of Rich Gannon and the famous Rich Gannon pump fake. Look left, move your hips left, come back right, hit a guy wide open. I love the passing attack. And there was some good runners back then. Tyrone Wheatley, right? Charlie Garner. Look at the guy, Zach Crockett, who ran the football. That's pretty fun. So if I had to choose, I would choose passing over running. Running's going to be really important to Clint Kubiak because that's where he's coming from. His dad, Gary Kubiak, loved to run it to set up the pass. So does Clint. But if you have to choose between the two, give us a call, 702-365. 9200 is the number. 702-365-9200. Aloha to Mike in Hawaii. What's happening, Mike?
Hey, aloha, JT. You just made some great points I was going to make. I would actually like to preface and say I would make us a run-heavy team at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
I know some people say, let's sit Mendoza for – that's not going to happen. He's going to play. So I think the balance on that is let Mendoza play from the beginning, but have a strong running game. And I think one thing I would do, if you look at Genty, he was both a power running – he ran in a power running team and also a zone. He's kind of a hybrid guy. I would kind of lean a little more on the power scheme this next year because it's not as complicated. I don't want my new offensive line coming together thinking too much. And the other thing I would do, I would look in the draft, good running back come out middle of the draft. I like a guy like a Jonah Coleman. I want to get another guy, just a power back. They can take a little stress off of Genty. Yes, Genty's power too.
What happened to Samir White? Fans give me hell because I liked Samir White. He was big, strong, low to the ground. Why didn't that work?
That's a great question. I liked him as well coming out of Georgia. I can't tell you. I mean, I'm sure the new coaching staff is going to give him a fresh look, give him an opportunity. I have no problem with that. But let me get into the second part of it. Mendoza, I'd have him running a lot of quick throws. You know, we don't have really a true number one. Bowers can operate as that. But since we don't have that true number one receiver, let's run a lot of routes underneath, a lot of quick throws, set it up with the running game, and get Mendoza on the move. Run some RPOs with him. And I think as he gets comfortable, as the season goes on, we can start throwing a little bit deeper. I mean, you mentioned Gannon. I was going to mention that before this fall. You know, you had Cross, you had Wheatley, you had Garner. And that was setting up what Gannon was great at. And I think we need to do the same thing with Mendoza, but we're not going to get it all right away. We've got to be patient and integrate more as the year goes on. Anyway,
excellent phone call. Excellent phone call, right? You ask people to come up with something unique, they do. I love the short passing game. Quickly getting the ball out for Mendoza. Love it. Hated it with Gino. Despised it with Gino because Gino couldn't do it. And Gino was supposed to be able to do it. The issue that we have to show respect to Geno Smith is that Gino was getting tattooed and hammered in the backfield and couldn't set his feet. Let's not forget that. Before you bash Gino, and I've been very fair to Gino, fair, but I don't believe Gino deserves to be back. I thought Gino played poorly. I thought that Gino could have played better, even with a bad offensive line. I just think that Gino had a bad year, and a lot of things went against Gino. A lot. The confusion between his head coach and Chip Kelly. The lack of personnel up front. The injury to Brock Bowers. Remember, Gino opened up the season, Clay, and played a really good game with Brock Bowers. Bowers went down. Teams started to tee off on Gino, and that's kind of when the lug nuts started coming loose.
Yeah, because it became a one-dimensional offense.
Yes.
That's the part I worry about with run-heavy offenses, that they become a little too predictable. They become a little boring, and you never really find that kind of threat downfield, and that's not good for long-term success.
Nope, it's not. We're live on YouTube. You can check in with us, get in the chat, make some internet friends. JT the Brick YT. Subscribe for free. You get more content today, the Damon Bruce podcast that we both did on both our channels. Damon Bruce plus JT the Brick YT, that was today. Levi Edwards joined us. I'm pretty open today. Tomorrow I'm off. I'll be up in the East Bay. I'm going to the East Bay for an event, a Raider event. So I'll be off tomorrow. I don't get off days anymore. I don't ever get a day off when I do nothing. I usually take a day off to do something for work-related, and they're very kind for me around here that they give me the opportunity to do that. So I'll be in the East Bay tomorrow just for the day, flying back tomorrow night. And then next week, we jump in with big shows from the Combine. I won't be at the Combine, but we'll be Combine heavy. We'll have Vinny there. The morning show, Q, is going to be there. I'll be anchoring back here. I got a pretty good Rolodex at the Combine. So we'll be talking to some of the insiders. And the Raiders are going to be the big topic. You know, the Raiders will be the big topic at the Combine. A lot of people are going to want to talk about the Raiders with all of our Raider talent. Let's get out to T. Raider, who's in Stockton today.
Hey, JT, what's going on? Great show, man.
Thank you.
It was good to see that UEA gave you a nice shout out on this special day. I thought that was awesome to do that for you. Anyway, about your question today, I like it. I would go with you. Go with the run, the passing game, because I think you have a guy there, Mendoza, who's going to get it done. And I would love to see the Raiders get a true number one. I mean, they had good success back in the day running a 2-end, 3 tight end set, but have a guy that would be able to spread the field. And I think you have a lot of guys that go over the middle and get those little quick slants. I think you get a true number one. That would be really, really good. And then let them run 2 tight ends. And I would just keep them both and go with that. And so I'm agree with you. I'm going to go with the pass.
Thank you. We add another pass example to the show. What would you rather do if you had to choose between run or pass? Clay and I both went pass. A lot of people on X are saying run the ball first. Run it. No, you got to have an offensive line. I'm assuming we're going to get an offensive line. You know, Clay, there was years during Christmas when I was a young boy, I assumed I was getting a bike. I assumed I was getting new catcher's equipment. I assumed I was getting things I didn't get. I'd be like, whoa, I thought I was going to get new catcher's equipment. I didn't get it. But my dad thought my old catcher's equipment was still good. But, Clay, you are assuming we're going to get 2 offensive linemen, correct?
I would even say see another third one coming in there.
Oh,
yeah, they cannot leave the offensive line to chance. They can. They might like some of the talent, but just remember the guys that are on this roster right now are not their guys. Other than the 2 draftees that came in, Charles Grant, Caleb Rogers. Other than that, everyone is from somebody else's regime, and this just makes me feel like they're going to leave nothing to chance. And even having all this Seattle familiarity, it seems like they're going to bring in a certain type of offensive lineman to go and really establish a new set of standards.
Yeah, I got another good one. So if you want to go run or pass, lines are open at 702-365-9200. We found out today that Indiana, the state of Indiana, unanimously passed a bill to try to get the Bears to go from Chicago to Indiana. Normally, I don't agree with this. Normally, I don't agree. The Raiders left California to come to Nevada. Well, it's the same thing with the Bears. If they leave Illinois to go to Indiana, those are border states. What's the problem? We could do it. I just don't think Chicago can be Chicago without the Bears. I don't. The Raiders had great DNA in Oakland, L.A., back to Oakland. They're building their DNA here in Vegas. But this is crazy to me. So I put out something today that I've been an expert on. I'm not an expert on many things. I'm not an expert on many things. I am an expert on stadium building and relocation. I'm an expert because I've been on the radio 30 years on this topic, uninterrupted. I believe it is not the job of the owner to build the stadium. I will always say that. It is not the job of the owner to pour the concrete and lay the steel. It's the job of the owner to pay for the players, pay for the business, fund the business, hire the staff, the trainers, the locker room attendants, feed the players, run football. It's not the owner's job to pour the concrete and build stadiums. Most stadiums don't work. They're depreciable assets. People, when they buy a car and they drive it off the lot, the car depreciates. The second you build the stadium, it starts depreciating. Now, here's where I stand on this. Owners who have the money, such as Stan Kroenke, the Walmart family, those who want to build their stadium for cash and run it as a separate business. You got the football team and the stadium. 2 separate businesses. 2 separate. Jerry Jones is the best I've ever seen at it. The best. Jerry Jones knows how to run the football team. Now, look, they haven't won in a while, but it's the Cowboys. And the stadium is a cash cow. All that stadium does is print money. And then local television rights for the preseason, local radio. Remember Jerry Jones did the Pepsi deal? The league said, no, you can't do it. He said, too bad, I'm doing it. Right? Jerry Jones got his own beer deal. All of that. Jerry's the best at it. Robert Kraft's up there too. But I wanted to get your opinion on this because I thought the Raiders, fortunately, did a great job with their relocation because we're in a tourist resort. We live in a tourist city. Oakland was not tourist. You can't charge people in Oakland, in San Leandro, a tax for a football team, for a stadium and build it. You can, but it's not going to go over well. Vegas, very easy to do. You just put it at the end of your hotel bill when you check out for the World of Concrete convention, and you're hammered, hungover, and you're checking out. Half these guys and gals don't even get a receipt. They just go right to the airport. But if you looked at the receipt, there was a stadium tax here. So I wanted to say this is that for people who are complaining, why don't the Bears pay for their stadium and keep the Bears there? Because the Bears ownership doesn't want to build the stadium. They need some help. They want money from the state. Illinois is probably the most corrupt and worst run state in America. Illinois, from their pension plans to their politics, it's a disaster. Oakland, not the state of California, Oakland is one of the worst cities in the history of professional sports when it comes to sports politics. There's no surprise that the Oakland community lost the Raiders, the Warriors, and the Athletics. And if they had 3 other teams, they would have lost them all too. because the politicians in Oakland were so bad at having a civic duty to want sports to do well. They just didn't care. They just kept getting voting out of office every year or two. They didn't care. So I get it. I'm pretty astute on what happened in Oakland. Vegas, it's easy. Vegas, everyone's giving away money. We got a governor. We had a mayor. We had everybody who was like, are you kidding me? We'll do anything to get the Raiders. We'll give you land for free for a practice facility. You could have a state tax. The governor's on board. The mayor's on board. The senators are on board. Why? Because we wanted jobs in Vegas. Jobs, jobs, jobs. So when it comes to owners building stadiums, I don't talk much A's here because we're not the A's flagship. We're the Raiders. I don't think the owner has to build it. The owner of the A's, Mr. Foley, if Mr. Foley doesn't want to own T-Mobile Arena and build it, look at him. He's running his hockey team pretty good. It's a global world-class hockey team. Now, the owner has to own or pay for their practice facility and their headquarters and all that because they have other people other than football players who work. They got to have a place to house the workers. That would be an office space. The owner should pay for that, but not the stadium. Who said the owners have to pay for the stadium? If you're Steve Ballmer and you're one of the richest men in the world from Microsoft and you want to own the Clippers stadium, go ahead and do it. There's a lot of other owners who don't have billions to pour concrete. They have $1 billion to own the team, but they don't have $1 billion to go out there and build stadiums with bleachers and suites. They're not in the business to do that. They might not want to do real estate. They just might want to own the team. What do you think about that? 702-365-9200. Clay's got sound from the Chicago mayor, Brandon Johnson, on the fact that the Bears could eventually be leaving Chicago to go to Indiana. Here is the mayor, Brandon Johnson of Chicago. Is that it?
Okay. All right. Keep a straight face here. The Bears belong in the city of Chicago. The Chicago Bears belong in the city of Chicago.
All right, let's cut that off because we get two feeds at once. We're getting 2 feeds at once. So something's running through the system twice. So we'll get back to that. We'll clean that up on the other side. The Bears belong in Chicago. The Bears will leave Chicago unless the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois step up. If they don't step up and help, they don't have to build the whole thing. But it's the job of these cities. Yeah, I hate to tell you this. I hate to tell you the truth. I hate that I have to be a truth teller. The cities and the states got to help out. The owners are not on the hook to own the concrete. That's not what they own the team for. All right, so we're going to take your calls coming up here at 702-365-9200 if you want to get into that topic. Also, Ian Rappaport told Rich Eisen that the Raiders could have a faster plan coming up here. We'll get to that in a second. And I want you to hear a few moments of my conversation with Olden Polynice, the big man. He just joined me on my night show. I only play stuff that I do. And he had a lot of cool things to say about the NBA. I'm pivoting to the NBA over the next couple of months. I hope you join us as we talk more NBA basketball here for obvious reasons. Football's over. Football's over. We got to kind of talk about other sports too. The breaking news today, the U.S. women's hockey team beats Canada. The ladies win in overtime. A gold medal for USA hockey for the ladies. Let's see if the men can do it too.
Tailgate.
All right, everybody, I'm going to belt on out of here. You got the Damon Bruce podcast, which should be on my page if you missed that. And I'm off tomorrow. I'm back on Monday. So if there's some breaking news over the weekend, keep an eye on my YouTube and I'll have some content there. I appreciate you all very much. The bricklayers, the best of the best. Hey, please hit like and subscribe. I'd appreciate that.